Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to our live coverage of the U.S. Amateur Championship from Strokers in Palm Harbor, Florida. Got early round action this Sunday morning. Undefeated side of the bracket, Abe Schaad, the newcomer, against five-time champion Brian Parks. Again, both these players undefeated thus far. Our coverage brought to you today by our friends at PoolDog.com. This event, of course, produced by the American Pool Players Association. These guys are going to have a race to 7. I am your host, Jason Bowman. I'm joined by Richard Andrews.
Hello, everybody. This should be a great match.
It's going to be a great day, Richard. Going to be a
Yes.
great day, and it all starts here with this match. Of course, we had some earlier round matches. But again, I think this is one we were looking forward to when the day ended yesterday. And, the question remains, can Brian Parks return to the final to try to defend his title, or is this young kid, Abe Schaad, who we saw yesterday, right? Very active, very animated.
Animated, yes, sir.
We were watching him warm up, and he was doing some behind the back. I mean, he was really just having a good time.
Yeah, he was rolling the ball down and then taking putting the cue ball in place, putting his stick behind his back, and then shooting to make the ball in the corner while it's moving. so he's a character. You're going to enjoy this match. Make sure you share this out and let all your friends know that you got a big match coming up here. 5-time U.S. Amateur Champion here, Brian Parks, playing this newcomer, checking out the rack. See if he does it looks like he's going to break probably pretty solid and hard into this head ball. A lot of people choose to break the second ball, but it looks like he's breaking, we'll see, the head ball. I think the cue ball's going to pop up in the air here. Yep, not far though. No love, and it brings Brian to the table with a nice open table. I don't really see any problems right now as far as being able for him to run out from here. Just make his way around the table. No clusters to break up. It may be a little tougher right off the bat, to just run these out without a mistake, but he is a veteran player and 5-time champion here, so. We'll see. He only warmed up. I think he hit about 5 balls before we started the lag here, so he didn't get a lot of warm up, but maybe he does not need it.
The question about Ernesto Bayawa. Ernesto has been eliminated. He finishes in 25th or tied for 25th. Of course, you can go to CompuSport.us to see where all the players in this year's field have finished or when they will play. I know we've also got Mike Lee and is it James Adams that's still undefeated as well that will be playing.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with James Adams. But
local guy.
Mike Lee played some really good pool yesterday.
Yeah, James we've seen over the years here, last few years. Very solid player. So both of those guys still undefeated as well.
We had some real chess going on with Ernesto and his opponent yesterday. I mean, wow, it was tough. Brian is playing perfect pool right now. While you were talking, he sent the cue ball up right around to the spot there, and just perfect from like 7, 8 feet away. Put that cue ball on a dime. Rolled a little bit far here, I think, just a shade. No, he's fine. Just draw the cue ball a little bit, I think, and it'll roll up for shaping for the 8 into the side pocket. And he will avoid getting on the other side of that strike ball that's in the center of the table. He'll make sure he does not go past that. If he thinks he might go past that ball, then he'll draw the cue ball back just to make sure he stays to the right of that strike ball. Like that, yeah. And that way, there's absolutely no way of hooking himself. He's got the eyes on the 8 the entire time.
Brian off to a good start early. Leads now 1-0 over Abe Schaad. Brian from Bakersfield, California. Abe is from Peoria, Illinois.
And if this match goes the same way as most of the rest of the matches we've been commentating, Abe will win the next game. Yep. 1-0, 1-1, 1-2, 2-2.
Of course, they're going to play 5 games of 8-ball.
Yep.
And then they'll move over to the 9-ball set where we may see as many as 8 games. So.
Yeah, of 9-ball, yep.
5 of 8, 8 of 9, 4.5 by 9-foot table. Bill Tufts, tournament director, reminding Brian to update the scorecard on his light. Brian with the break here.
Need our spectators to be able to keep up with what the score is, right?
That or in case we miss it.
Yeah, that too. I just didn't want to tell on us. Okay, he made a stripe, and he does have a stripe into the corner pocket. That's a easy shot and easy to hold shape on the ball into the side. So he'll be happy with that break. No clusters really, nothing to worry about. He should be able to run out from here. Looks like you may be following this to the end rail and back out to avoid the, having to put the draw on the ball, and it makes it a little easier to make it into the corner pocket.
The other two on the question here about who's on the other part of the winner's bracket, that's Mike Lee and James Adams. Again, if you guys go to compusport.us, you get a real good idea how the bracket looks as we enter the 3rd day of competition at this year's U.S. Amateur Championship.
And from this point on, every match is going to be just awesome play, right? I mean, the whole tournament is anyway, just because you can't get to this level unless you play pretty good anyway to get through the preliminaries. But when you get down to Sunday, everybody that's playing on Sunday will be top-notch players. He's taking a little bit more time here because the flow from this ball he's about to make in the corner, he's got to get perfect shape on this ball to make sure he can float down for the next one to the left corner down here, bottom left corner. Yeah, I saw him shake his head a little bit because he knows this is tough. He's got to play really precise shape here for the next 2 shots. But so far up to this point, he's done, and he did not play precise shape that time. But I think he'll be okay because he will be able to pocket this in the corner. He will not touch that. He'll make sure that he does not touch that 6 on the way by. He'll come to the end rail and then out just a little bit to play the 14 into the side pocket. Yeah, that was the trouble. It was a little bit difficult at that angle to pocket the ball, but you see the shape is just natural on the next ball into the corner. So he didn't really have to worry about that. Just needed to pocket the 11 in the corner.
Gonna bring Abe Schaad back to the table, 26-year-old out of Peoria, Illinois. List amongst his honors, 2-time Iowa State champ, 2-time Illinois State champ.
Yeah, I was very impressed with his play yesterday.
He was a fun one to watch.
Yeah.
Very animated.
Yeah.
Moves quickly.
You know, all the things that make your better. Thanks for good TV.
He may elect to play a safety here, but it, it, I, if he does play a safety, it needs to be a good lockdown safety because Brian is a good kicker and a good jumper. So if you're going to play safe, don't halfway do it. Make sure it's a lockup safety. Marry the cue ball to the back of the 5 ball down there. If you know, or something, something really tight. But I think he should be aggressive here and go ahead and run out. I like either trying that shot or playing the 6 in the side pocket. I might have preferred playing the 6 in the side. I think it might have been a shade easier, and either way, whether you shoot the shot he shot or the 6 in the side, he would have been running into basically cue ball going to the same place. So he had to worry about that. Okay. So here he draws the cue ball a little bit and bumps into the 8 and just bumps it toward this other corner pocket a little bit. I think that's what he needs to do. Unless he can pull it back. He may be able to pull the cue ball back, hit it full enough to, just bumping the 8. He didn't want to fool with the hugely finesse shot.
All right.
I would
Abe's not gonna make you
really
shoot it,
prefer
huh?
I would really prefer that they played things out. I think our viewers would like to see all of the shots.
So Abe conceded that 8 ball there. Again, like we said, he moves quick, and he felt like that was a foregone conclusion, and he wanted to go straight to racking and starting over. So we'll see.
Yeah. Personally, I don't think it's fair to the shooting player, though, for you to get up and disturb them while they're shooting. And plus, that's one more easy shot that Brian would have had to help him get into stroke as they're playing.
Yeah.
And Brian breaks the second ball. We saw Abe break the head ball with more speed. Oh no. Yeah, that is what just happened there. Is what I've talked about earlier this week. Is the as you're scraping across the object ball, it with the friction there, it carries it with you a little bit, and that didn't really look like what we call a skid, but there was it wasn't a heavy skid, but there was a little bit there where it carried it with it and didn't release it soon enough for it to go straight into the hole, and it carried it onto the end rail, the 1 ball. So you have to either overcut that shot a little bit or apply a little bit of outside English. In that case, right, just a shade of right English, maybe a half a tip or something, and then it doesn't drag it with it. All right, that was a nice combination to start out for Brian there. And again, I see no issues with his being able to run out. He needs to avoid a little bit of a few obstacles here going around the 3-ball. That was nice, but he came up a little short. I'd like to see him come just a little bit further where he had unless the 9 goes in the 9's open to the corner. So then that's perfect. I'm sure that's where he wanted to go. At first, I was thinking it was the 13 was blocking it. So he can play a stop shot again, and then he has a stripe right there into the side. I'm not sure he's going to like that angle. It takes him away from the 2 stripes. That's why he's going around now, I think, because it kind of took the cue ball moves away from the stripes, and he needed to move to our left now after contacting this stripe and making it in the corner, in the side. I think he could follow it up, though, and then play the 10 in this side closest to us. Well, he liked the stop shot. I don't think I would have been comfortable with that. Now, does this ball pass into the side, or does he have to play it in the corner? Looks like he has to go in the corner. And if that's the case, then he may have to pop this to the rail and back out, just to make sure that he doesn't leave himself behind the 6. No, he could follow it up. Okay. But finessing the ball like that, you see how softly, when you hit it really softly like that, it has that effect I was talking about a moment ago, where with the friction between the two balls, it carries it with it a little bit more. And that's why it carried it into the rail. So when you're hitting it that soft, you have to overcut it a little bit more or apply a little bit of left English in that case. Outside English. The reason he shot it that way is he wanted to go in front of the 6 and not to the rail and back out and possibly hook himself, because you like for your cue ball to have eyes on that next shot through as much of its path, especially the end of the path, that you can.
Abe Schaad at the table here, trying to pick up his first game in this 8-ball set.
Whoa. I think he hit that right into the corner of the rubber part of the pocket, and it just didn't, it spit it out. Touchy shot here. That's hard. It's really hard to control that shot with it sitting in the pocket like that, because the cue ball hits one of the points of the pocket. And I don't know if you remember, he missed a similar shot to this earlier. So he'll make sure he makes it this time. I think he pockets it with medium speed and just a little follow. Just a little bit above center. Nope, missed it again. And I wonder, as he was about to get over that shot, if that went through his mind, that, well, last time I shot this, I missed it, so I've got to do something a little different.
You don't see him miss that often.
No.
Another great opportunity here for Abe Schaad.
And also Brian missing that shot gives Abe a little bit of breathing room. It makes him, and lets him shoot a little bit more, get warmed up.
Yep.
So that could be the difference right there between winning this match and losing it. He's short. He's really short on the shot. Like we said earlier, Abe is animated, and these little motions you see where he looks like he's totally disgusted. Sometimes when he hits a great shot, he'll do that too. So you never know. But the way this young man shoots, he'll probably put this in and get perfect shape on the 8. He can cut this in, but it's a big stretch. He may have to use a bridge.
It's like he's going to try to stretch. I think he took his phone out of his pocket in preparation. Yeah.
I think I would be stretching, and I would have an extension on the end of that cue to help me reach it. Yeah, this is very difficult. He's loading it up. See what he's hitting the left side of the cue ball.
Wow.
He played that just like he meant to. And what I started when he was lining that up to shoot that earlier, I started to mention that the problem with that, he could probably make the ball, but the problem with that is what we see, the cue ball placement now. That's about the best he could do with the cue ball.
Richard,
for
how
me.
many of the guys in this tournament can stretch out over the table like that and make that shot? I'm
Well,
serious. That's
Mo-
26 years old right
It-
there, and a little more flexibility than I think
Yeah,
some of these guys are going to have here.
Yeah,
Wow.
I know. I think Henry and I might be the only two that can't do that. But
That was
that was almost a good shot.
Oh, you see the
Yep.
frustration. So he's going to concede
Yep.
that. Just missed that 8-ball. So fails
Yep.
to capitalize on the opportunity after a phenomenal shot, too. Frustrating for him.
He could have
for
hit
sure.
that shot just like that, but a little softer, and it would have gone in on these
Mm-mm-mm.
holes. We've seen it.
Can't make those kind
Yeah.
of mistakes. When Brian opens the window
Yep.
of opportunity,
He
you have to
needed to
take it.
capitalize.
So
Yeah.
Brian will
who's
lead
bringing us-
3-0.
Who's bringing the stream to us?
That would be the folks at pooldog.com. We've got quite a few folks tuning in this morning. Viewership up near 700. So you folks are
700,000.
enjoying
That's
this
awesome.
coverage brought to you by pooldog.com over breakfast or brunch. Brian and Abe having a little conversation there as Abe prepares the rack. Saw some frustration. We'll see if he's able to regroup here. That was, I think Brian trying
Yeah,
to,
he really needed. Abe really needed to take that rack.
yeah. I think that's kind of sportsmanlike of Brian, though. He's kind of talking to him, just saying,
Yeah,
hang in there.
right.
It happens. I don't,
See how much the 8-ball moved around the table that time? That's what that break is about. The hitting that second ball is getting that 8 out of there, and if you make it in these APA rules for this event, you well, for any APA rules, the 8 on the break is a win unless you also scratch, in which case it would be a loss. So Abe fires that one in, but he's not happy with his shape. I think he should take that 3-ball right now. Looks like that's the easier shot. And, he'd like to not have to make the 3 now because it's a blocker for the 8. And he'd rather leave it there just in case he misses. But he's not expecting to miss here. He needs to. The only trouble I see in this rack is getting good position on that 1 ball. So he needs to have a plan at this point of what does it, and that's what he's looking at. I think, what does it take me to get where I need to be on that 1 ball later on? Because that's the only ball that really is pretty limited in position to make it.
I'm just waiting for it, Richard. Hurricane Abe. We saw it yesterday in that match. It was close, and then all of a sudden he just out of nowhere went on a tear. Tore right through the
Yeah,
9-ball set. So
he
we'll
can
keep
do
an eye
it.
on that because I think he might have been trailing it yesterday when they moved into the 9-ball set, and he just went on an incredible run. So
Yeah, it's hard for
don't
me to
count him out
remember.
yet.
I barely remember that. Now, he's making sure he gets the correct angle on that 4 ball to where he can come off the end rail and then come right back down in between all those stripes to get perfect shape on the 1. And did he get the right angle? I think he's a little bit short, actually. This will force him to put a little bit of inside English on the cue ball, which makes it a little, just not much from this, from where he's sitting, but a little bit tougher to pocket the 4 into the corner. Yeah, he just needs just a shade of right English where it hits that rail. So to hit the 4, touch the rail, and he just needs to spin toward us a little bit off of that rail to come down into perfect position for the 1 ball. And that is perfect position on the 1 ball. He's jacked up a little bit, though, over the 11, but it shouldn't present too much of a problem for him. He's going to bring the cue ball over to right where he had his stick there. Yeah, nice shot.
Yeah, one of our commenters said he was down 4-1 in that match yesterday that he ended up winning
Oh.
7-5. So yeah, that's what we're talking about. So we'll see if we
Yeah.
see it here. But
No give up. That's good.
like the way he responded to that last game, though, by picking up
too.
that one. All right, he's on the board. Trails by 2 games. This will be our last rack of the 8-ball set. Abe trails Brian Parks by 2 games, race to 7.
Yeah, and in this format, they play, since they started with 8-ball, they play 5 games of 8-ball. And before they move to the 9-ball format, and it's a race to 7 across both 8 and 9-ball. They play up to 8 games of 9-ball. And I think it's a great format, to combine the 2 games. And I guess you came up with this format in what, 94?
1994, first year of the U.S. Amateur Championship. 25 years later. I don't know that any of us could have ever anticipated the interest in this event all the way back then. I think there was just a desire to do something with the very upper echelon amateur players, and it's just really grown and grown and grown over the years.
And I guess
the format's part of that, right?
Yeah, and Ronnie Park showed you, I guess, the first year who the upper echelon player was
That's
at the
right,
time,
very
right?
first one. Name forever on that Larry Hubbard trophy right there. Very first one. Of course, one of the guys in this match has his name on there a few times as well.
Yeah, Brian Parks, 5-time U.S. Amateur Champion.
Abe Schaad trying to do his part to make sure that doesn't happen again. Gonna pull the bridge out.
I like the way he followed through on that shot. He didn't. A lot of times when people put the bridge in their hand, they'll kind of jab at it, back and forward quickly. But he had a nice, smooth delivery there.
A lot of interest in this match early in the day. Should be some good action all day long, folks. I think our next round will be the hot seat match. So stay tuned to us here on our Facebook page. Hit that like button. Make sure you get notifications as the new matches start.
Yeah, he's trying to decide, do I want to go 1 rail straight up to the 8, or do I want to go 2 rails? The only problem with the 2 rail is you don't want to, you take a chance of running into that 9-ball. So he chose to do the 1 rail, which I think in this case is the right shot. If he if the 9-ball was not sitting there, then 2 rail is preferred, because once you come off that 2nd rail, you're in line for a
All
long
right.
race.
Abe on fire. We're going to hear a quick word from our friends at Cool Dog.
Tired of the same old when you're buying billiard supplies? Come shop with the big dogs at PullDog.com. You want pull cues? We've got over 700. Balls, cases, accessories, no problem. Want help with your game? How does hundreds of free training articles sound? Want to shop offline? We'll mail you a free catalog. Hit us up online, PullDog.com, or call 866-843-3294.
All right, Brian prepares the 9-ball set, or the beginning of the 9-ball set. Abe will have the break. I like the response we've seen from Abe since he missed that 8-ball and given that game to Brian. I mean, he's come back and win 2 in a row to close out the 8-ball set, and as we saw yesterday with him, he really gets hot in the 9-ball.
Yeah.
So,
and a lot of people, if that happens to you, they kind of lower their shoulders and start
Right.
slumping around. He got the business.
Yep.
So I like to see that.
Yeah. So we'll see if he can do in the 9-ball set what we saw him do yesterday. And
Yeah.
if he can do that, Brian will have to be working his way back through the 1-loss bracket. Still a long way to go here. Brian obviously still with the advantage. 3 games to 2, race to 7.
Brian is a good racker. He makes sure they're all nice and frozen or as close as you can get. The year he and I played, I just let him rack for both of us. It's a little dangerous. Well, yeah, very dangerous that he scratched in the corner. I was going to say that it's dangerous drawing the cue ball like that. So he actually hit the cue ball a little lower than he meant to.
Did he pocket the 6? Is that what went there? Looks like he had
I
a
think-
6
I think so.
in the
yeah.
top pocket there. So
The only trouble I see here is that 4-5 combination, which is easy, but then when he makes the 4-5 combination down here in the bottom left, and he's looking at that now, what I need to do with that is that when he gets to that, he's got to make sure he maintains shape on that 4 ball after making the 5. So he'll have to be very particular there, but the rest, but the other shots are, you know, he really doesn't have any trouble. That's the only slight trouble there. But he needs to be thinking now, what does it take to put my cue ball in the right place for when I get to that 4-5 combination? That's not a very good start, I don't believe, for this. And you can see how he kind of flipped his wrist around. He wasn't happy with it either. And he's looking back over at that pair of balls. He knows that's the trouble in this rack, so he's got to. And he'll probably get there, you know. It's just, yeah, he's good. Now he'll come off the side rail close to with the cue ball. Come off the side rail and then be right in line where he needs to be. I'm a little surprised he's not getting over there now and seeing exactly where he wants that cue ball to be. That's too far. Yeah. Yeah, I think he rushed that shot a little bit. The whole, you know, he needed to see exactly where does he want the cue ball and then get up there and make it happen. Now he's got to jump it. And I expect him to make this ball, but then the 4 and the cue ball are just going wild. And he'll have to get a little fortunate to have a decent shot following this.
getting a jump cue out.
Yeah. They do allow jump
Yeah, that's
cues
right.
in this, like in the Masters League, right? And that's a shorter, lighter cue that allows you to hit down. You don't scoop it like some people may think, but you are knocking the cue ball down into the table and bouncing it up. And the way people ask me, well, what angle do I need to hit this at to make it jump? And what I like to say is that if you were to pick that cue ball up in your hand and throw it to the point where it's sitting, a little surprised he missed that shot. If you were to pick it up and throw it and make it bounce over, whatever angle you would throw it at and whatever speed you would throw it is the exact same angle and speed that you need to have that cue stick, the jump stick. Which is generally not very hard. You don't have to hit it extra hard to get it to do that. The stick, if you got a good jump stick, you let the stick do the work for you. Good shot. That's a good shot, but I think he got a little off. He's okay though. Yeah, he can follow he
Looks
can
like
follow
almost
it
some
over.
kind of practice routine set up here, right?
Yeah, it is. I was thinking if the cue ball were slightly closer to us, then this would be a much tougher shot. But all he had to do from there was follow it up. He's got his choice of drawing it back and playing the 8. Yeah, he's drawing it back and playing the 8 in the same pocket, maintaining a little angle there where he can come off the rail after this. Yeah, that's good. He can come off the. Well, I'm not sure how he's coming off one rail and then out to that point. I'm not too crazy about coming that way because he could easily overrun this shape right here.
All right, Brian's going to concede the 9 ball to him, so storms are brewing, folks. Hurricane Abe.
The storms are brewing.
Trademark that. Trademark that.
Yeah,
I'm
you
getting
must
it from
be
the
a marketing
commenters.
guy.
I'm getting it from the
Okay.
commenters. I didn't come up with that.
So you got
The internet came up with that. You know how creative the internet is.
Yeah.
I remind you folks to give us a like here on our Facebook page if you haven't already, so you don't miss any of the action here at this year's U.S. Amateur Championship. Get a notification of when new matches begin. You can also bop over to our YouTube channel, youtube.apa leagues, where we've got bonus coverage. I think we probably have a match or two going on over there at the moment.
Mike Lee versus James Adams on 5.
Okay. So the other undefeateds are playing right now over there. Mike Lee, James Adams.
Pretty hot match on table 6. Brisbane versus Brote.
And Brisbane Broad on table 6. So yeah, three very good matches going on. We've got one here with commentary. It's Abe Schaad and Brian Parks. We've got two on the bonus coverage. One features two former champions in Kenny Brisbane and Henry Broad. The other is the two undefeateds, Mike Lee and James Adams, the two undefeateds in addition to the two playing here. So lots of great action today. Tied up here in this race to 3. Abe will have the break once again.
Do you wear a glove when you play?
I do not.
Yeah. I started wearing one a couple of years ago, and just hadn't been wearing one lately. But some people just can't play without one, you know, just too. And down in this area, probably with the humidity, people may use it more than others. But
Rhett, the only way Hurricane Abe sticks is if he wins this event, bud. So that's the true sign of marketing success. Ask Brian Parks in his drive for 5 last year. We were hashtagging that left and right, although I think he stole that one from the Patriots. But
well, he's going to have to find a good place to push out, I think, from here.
in this event's coming to you from Strokers in Palm Harbor, Florida. 3rd day of action in the U.S. Amateur Championship. Brought to you by our friends at PoolDog.com. Abe Schaad at the table here. Abe from Peoria, Illinois.
He'll hit the right side of the one ball, and so it'll come back. Oh, he's making him shoot again.
Yeah, so he did the push out. Brian gave it back to him. What happened there?
Yeah,
so.
but I think he's going to hit the right side of the one ball, let the cue ball go over behind the 9, and the 1 just come back up around the spot to just a little left of the spot.
I've always found the push out to be pretty interesting. You know, the idea that you maybe see something your opponent doesn't, and making them try to counter it.
I rarely give it back to my opponent. So Brian looked at this and went, I don't think I can get the better of it out of here. So and this is tough because it's long. He's trying to see where exactly do I want that cue ball, not the cue ball, but the 1 to be. Remember I said the 1 would end up just to the left of the spot. So he was looking to see where can I put that, because my cue ball is going to be over here to the right of the 9 ball. He'll visualize that, and now he's pulling it off, hit the right side, boom, and didn't get there. But he almost did. It was very close to the way that I drew it out, or tried to explain it to our viewers. He'll make this in the side if he feels comfortable with it. It won't be very hard. And by hard, I meant he won't hit it very hard. And now the Hurricane's about to
The wind's picking up.
Yeah.
Feeling a few sprinkles.
Yeah.
We're going to have fun with that if Abe keeps going in this tournament. We're going to have a lot of fun with that one, folks. So
Nice shot. He, the way he hit that, it drug the cue ball. He didn't put maximum bottom on it. He had some speed to where it would come over a little bit before it started coming back, and that gave him the angle, allowed the cue ball to go more toward the center of the table.
pockets the 3 in the corner.
I really like the way he gets around here and sees what angle do I need on this 5 before he just gets down and shoots it. That's a little wild, just a little bit. He's fine, but he came a little further than he meant to. I think he'll be just as happy with it, though. This is very similar to his final shot on 9-ball a little bit ago, but he overran his shape. Stays down nicely. Stay down nicely there. And that's what you'll see of the top-notch players when they're just like a golfer. All that stuff stays in place except the stick is coming back and forth. You know, from your elbow down is really all that should be moving.
Abe takes his first lead of the match while these guys prepare the next rack. Want to remind our viewers, if you want to be competing in next year's U.S. Amateur Championship, now is the time to sign up. You can go to usam.poolplayers.com. Enter one of the preliminary rounds, and if you place highly enough there, you will advance to the qualifier rounds, or I'm sorry, the championship rounds, which is what you're watching now. usam.poolplayers.com.
Well, that was a massive audience there.
Brian trying to get that rack just right.
And as you can see at the top of the screen there, we are at the beautiful Strokers in Palm Harbor, Florida.
Where the weather couldn't be much nicer.
Yeah,
Not that we're seeing it today, but outside.
I looked out my window this morning of my hotel, and I saw some ladies across, you know, bathing in the sun.
A hurricane. Abe, it's a joke. Oh, I thought you were talking about. Never mind, ignore me.
Now, Brian's not the tallest of the players out here, so this is a little bit more difficult than for a lot of other players. But he's able to stretch out there and pull it off.
Not often we see Mr. Parks down a game midway through a match, but
No, but it's not often you see him play the Hurricane either.
that's true. Well, we'll see how he responds to a little adversity in this match now, trailing for the first time. And you know, these guys watch each other too.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they haven't played yet, but I'm sure Brian at some point has taken note of Abe. And
Well, I know he can do it because he was trailing me the year I played him, and he came back. Doggone it.
yeah. Still a long way to go. Of course, we started with 128 players down to the final day of competition.
This shot, it wouldn't be a tough shot, except that he's got to draw the cue ball back for his next shot, and so that makes it tougher. You might see him bobble this ball in the corner. No, he was really smooth with the shot because he knew about the added difficulty of it. Oof. Just about touched the rail on the way in, and if he'd have done that, it would still be sitting there on the top of the table. Easy run out from here to the rail and back down. Looks to me like he could stop the cue ball there and play the 8 in the side. I would get around there and look at it and just see what do I want. He let it slide over, and I'm not sure he wanted it to slide over. Which means he hit it into the right side of the pocket. And I'm not sure, but I think he meant to hit it into the left side of the pocket and stop the cue ball dead in its tracks there and play the 8 in the side. He should still pocket this ball, but he still He's missed a couple like this today so far.
Missed that one as well.
Yeah. So now that's building up in him. He sees these longer, a little off-angle shots he's
Yep,
missed.
not
3
feeling
now.
him today, yep. He's going to have to resolve that issue, though, if he's going to
Yeah.
make a run at this thing.
I'm
But for
gonna
now,
leave.
Abe Schaad will have, yeah, hard to tell how that looks on the.
He's got to jump it. He got his jump stick.
Okay, he's
so
got his,
I
yep.
do not expect him to miss this.
All right. Yeah,
I don't think I would jump it. I would put a little, just a little bit of low right on the ball, let it curve around, hit the rail just before the 8, and then come around. It's because it lays for perfect shape, but he likes to jump.
Yeah, and kind of right on cue, no pun intended. People asking about the jump cue is allowed here in the U.S. Amateur Championship, unlike APA, standard APA league play. The only other league play that we have that allows the jump cue is the Masters format. So I've seen him use the jump cue a couple times in this match. Brian earlier, now Abe, who pockets the 8 in the corner. Very nice.
Yeah. And I take back what I said earlier. It's after he shot the ball, I could tell the angle better, and I would have shot the jump shot as well because he was fully covered up by the 9. I thought he had
Little space.
Yeah, I thought he had a little space over to the top side of the 9, but he didn't. So
All right, Abe.
he can cut this in.
Yeah.
He's just got to make sure he does not scratch down in this corner on the bottom left.
Chance to extend the lead here.
So he'll hit this with just a little bit of outside or right English in this case, to where when it hits the right, the rail up top there, that it comes back toward the center of the table instead of heading toward the bottom left corner pocket. This should be hit at about medium speed. Oh.
Off.
I am really surprised that he did not play that into the side pocket just then.
Yeah.
Brian will.
Yeah.
He'll play it in the side pocket with just a little bit of draw, bring the cue ball to the end rail around the first diamond, between the first and middle diamond.
All right, Brian takes advantage of the opportunity there. Once again, we are even, 4-4 in this race to 7. If you've not yet joined the APA or you've not yet joined for next year, you can go to poolplayers.com/join to get signed up today. Start enjoying the benefits of APA membership.
And you can play locally with friends and family
Absolutely,
and
that's
all.
really what it's all about. And
then
maybe you make it to Vegas
make it
and,
to
and
that
play
right
in this,
there.
into this environment.
And
which
if you
is,
get there, you will be amazed at the number of players out there just enjoying themselves, and all these beautiful tables they have lined up for you to play on, scheduled matches.
it is an event unlike any other. And it all starts by going to poolplayers.com/join. So, like Brian's going to take a step away from the table momentarily. And while he does that, we'll remind you guys about the bonus coverage we have over at youtube.com/APA Leagues. I think we still have Kenny and Henry playing over there. Henry Brote and Kenny Brisbane, and I know we had Mike Lee and James Adams. So if you want to go over there and subscribe to that YouTube channel, you'll get the other notifications as the bonus coverage pops up throughout the day here, so you don't miss any of the action at this year's U.S. Amateur Championship. I would take a score update if you can give me one. All right, so Mike Lee is up 3-1, you said? 3-1 on James Adams on one of the bonus tables, and we're going to check on that other score between Henry Broad and Kenny Brisbane. We've got a little time here. Want to make sure we thank our friends at Henry's up 1-0. Okay. I want to thank our friends at PoolDog.com. They got a lot of special offers for our viewers. If you go to PoolDog.com/APA Champs, you can check out some of those offers as we move into the holiday shopping season. I'm sure they would appreciate you folks checking them out and giving their website a look as you look to buy the cues and cases and all the other billiard accessories for the pool friends and family in your life. Again, just waiting on Brian to return to the table.
Somebody's smoking in the bathroom. Stall there.
Well, since we got a little time, let's hear a word from our friends at Pool Dog and see what they've got.
Tired of the same old when you're buying billiard supplies? Come shop with the big dogs at PullDog.com. You want pool cues? We've got over 700. Balls, cases, accessories, no problem. Want help with your game? How does hundreds of free training articles sound? Want to shop offline? We'll mail you a free catalog. Hit us up online, PullDog.com, or call 866-843-3294.
All right, looks like Brian is back.
Eyeing over that rack, and he's going to ask him to re-rack, looks like. And that's the reason he racked for both of us when I played him, because he wasn't that happy with my racks, and I didn't want to break my back doing it. So I said, no problem. You can rack for both of us. Because I know he's a good racker, so I don't mind. He's not going to try to cheat me. So and we had a really good match.
Well, thus far, this match has certainly lived up to what we had hoped it would.
Yes, sir.
It's funny. The chat is calling Hurricane versus Trailer Parks.
I don't know that Brian's going to adopt that
No.
particular name.
No, I don't think Brian will like.
Pretty clever though.
Yeah.
You can't hear yourself.
All right. In the side, he just hit it a little bit to the left side. I think other than that, everything was okay. Is the speed and if he'd hit more to the right side, then the cue ball would not have, or more toward the center anyway. The cue ball would not. It would have stopped in the center instead of deflecting into that side pocket.
Hi, Richard. Steve
Hi.
here. I'm testing some audio,
Okay.
so don't let me bug
I can
you.
hear you.
I can
How's
hear
it going,
me too.
Steve?
It's going well.
Good.
It's going well.
Really appreciate you running all this media stuff.
All right.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he's the one that keeps all this machinery oiled for us.
Especially when we hit the wrong buttons, and which we've done a few times.
Yeah,
We've kind of gotten the hang of it, though.
pretty much.
Very proud of all.
Yes, he's very proud of us, he said.
Yeah.
All right. Abe Schaad
And
at
I
the
think-
table here.
I think there's a few people proud of these two guys.
Yeah.
They're really performing well.
Abe's going to have an opportunity here.
Yeah, that's always nice to be able to start with ball in hand. We expect players of this caliber, if if they're playing 9 ball and all the balls are open with ball in hand, I think the percentage is approaching 100% for them to run out. What he was planning on doing then, the reason he's disappointed, even though he pocketed the ball, is he was trying to play that ball off of the 8 to pull it slightly off the rail, because where that 8 sits now is the toughest place on a table for a ball to sit. It's limits your options for pocketing the ball. So he would like to have bumped it on his way into the pocket where it would come slightly off the rail. But he does have a nice little option here if he if he gets the right angle on the. Now he's looking at getting the angle on the 7 to try the same thing he did a moment ago. But something he could try now is if he pockets this 5 in the corner and gets the correct angle on the 6, then he could come over off of the end rail and bump the 8 on his way, but he's not going to do that, not at that angle. And it's probably not worth fooling with anyway, because he can get shape. If he puts himself against the rail over here below the 8, he can easily run out from there. You just like to get the 8 away from that spot early on if you can. Yeah, I'm surprised he's still looking at that. You want to bump that away early and not really fool with that at here. Yeah, I'm not too crazy of trying that here. And he's sending the cue ball to the other end of the table. I think he would have been better off just trying to get to a place where he could play shape on it to run out. On this side of the ball, I think he would have preferred to be, because then you don't have to worry about this side pocket, about keeping the cue ball out of it. Oh, I was thinking, you normally don't want to run into the ball like that, but I think it might have helped him get where he needed to be better, more. Yeah, he's fine.
Somebody just pointed out that Abrin spells Brian like it's an anagram. Coincidence? I think not. It does, doesn't it?
Yes, our viewers are very astute today. They are pointing out that Abrin and Brian have essentially the same letters in the word, right? Okay. Coincidence? I think so. But
think so?
yeah,
You
I
reckon?
mean, you think there's some higher level meaning to that?
Yeah.
I don't know, but it is interesting. And Abrin, or Abe, as he's more commonly known, Abe Schaad, now leading 5-4, race to 7. He'll have the break here. Asking for an adjustment here. Again, if you're just tuning in, this is continuing coverage of this year's U.S. Amateur Championship from Strokers in Palm Harbor, Florida, just across the Tampa Bay. Got started on Wednesday earlier this week with the ladies event. Wrapped that up on Thursday. The Open Division started on Friday. We are in the final day of competition now. Started with 128 players. Only a handful remain. All right.
And for all those that participated in this event, they got a room in the nice hotel there right on the water.
Love the hotel. Love being right on the bay there.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty nice. Like a little vacation to come down
Yeah.
here and play in this tournament. course, I think most of the players would prefer to be in the pool room all day, but for those that exit early, it's a nice option to be able to
Yeah.
enjoy the nice weather
Yeah,
and
there are
everything
people
that
out
this
at-
area offers.
Out on the beach, out at one of the couple of pools they had.
Yeah. Been great weather throughout the week. Most of us heading back to what sounds like winter in other parts of the country. So
You have some snow back home, I think.
yeah,
don't you,
St.
coming
Louis
up?
got a little snow. Or
That looks. You know what? On this shot, it's hard to get away from the
You're
weather
good.
here, but he can pocket this. Wouldn't surprise me if he gets around and looks at this, but he's just going to do it. He could actually fire this in and pocket the. If he fires the combo, the two, he is looking at it. I thought he might go around there and look at it. If he fires the 2 into the 7 to make the 7 in the corner, the 2 actually comes off the 7 and hits the 9 in such a way that it may go in the top right pocket. So I expect to see him fire this in and follow the cue ball just a little bit to make sure he holds shape on the 2. He doesn't want to have the 3 in between the cue ball and the 2. But hopefully you guys see this where the 2 hits the 7 and then it goes off to the right immediately to hit the 9 into the corner pocket. So I expect him to hit this pretty firm. Yeah, see that? Came really close to pocketing the ball. I just wonder, though, if he had some of that on his mind when he pulled the trigger, because really his number one goal, every bit of his focus should have been on pocketing that combination, not the 9 ball. The 9 ball was just a sort of a byproduct of the other shot. Yeah, I did not expect him to miss that combo there. It was really pretty straightforward. But I just think his focus was just a little bit off because he was considering the 9 in the corner. I think it would have just, if he'd have made the 2, I think the 9 would have taken care, not the 2, the combo, what was it, 5? The 9 would have just made its way into the corner. It's not the easiest of shots. Yeah, he can pocket this in the side now, looking from this angle and just follow the cue ball up for the 4 in the corner. Yeah, he's got a nice little run out from here. Once he gets this next shape, if he rolls up to the correct place where he just looked, he'll drag it to the rail and out, I think. Yep, right where his stick ran across the rail, that's where he wants it to hit the rail and then come down the line his stick was on. Watch this. Boom, and down his line, on his line. I call that a landing strip. So it actually came into the center of the table a little bit more than he wanted there toward the end. But the great thing about this is now he can come off the end rail and he's right in line to pocket right in that line to pocket the 6 in the side, and he doesn't have to do anything but just pocket the 6, and he's right there to make the 7 ball in the corner line. He's perfect. I think he'll stop the cue ball dead. That way he can make the 7 and come away from the rail a little bit on the next shot. Okay, he wanted a little bit more angle. I would have been comfortable where it was sitting, I think. To the center of the table. And most of the time when I'm talking about center of the table, this, that, and the other, I'm talking about the cue ball, because really that's what everybody knows what ball he's about to make. So the question is, where is he sending the cue ball for a good shape on the next ball?
These guys don't like to wait around, do they? So
Nope.
Brian's going to concede that 9 ball. Abe, folks. Abe Schaad on the hill, leading 6-4 on the cusp of sending Mr. Parks to the 1-loss bracket. We'll see if he can do it here. He'll have the break. Now would be a good time to remind you, this is a double elimination tournament. So both these players undefeated. The winner here will continue on to the hot seat match. The loser will have to come through the 1-loss bracket, but both of these players, regardless of outcome, will still be alive in the tournament. So those that are tuning in wondering if Mr. Schaad is about to eliminate Brian, not quite, but potentially send him to the one-loss bracket. Still a long way to go, though. I mean, this is not the first time we've seen someone go to the hill against Brian and Brian come back. So we'll see.
That's right. And you won't see any give up in Mr. Parks here. He's going to grind and do whatever he can to scratch his way back to 7.
But based on what we've seen from Abe, I mean, you've got to like his chances here. Up 2 games.
Yeah, he's
on
not.
The hill.
I don't recall if any real mistakes that he's made. You know, something where he was really supposed to make it.
Yeah, maybe that 8
so
ball
he's
in
not
that
giving it back.
third or fourth game was about
Yeah.
the last mistake I really remember.
Yeah.
He had the opportunity there to win that game. And
Yeah, he seemed that after that point he got a bit more deliberate and started. Now, you notice how Brian tapped those balls. He did not go, you know, and hit them really hard. It was just a very light tap because you end up making the table worse if you start hitting those balls hard. So please don't, when you're trying to make a ball stay in place, if you want to tap it very lightly. I normally don't use balls to do it, but I turn the butt of my stick around and I tap it lightly just to help keep it in place there. But you do not want to make a hole in the table when you hit it. You don't have to hit it hard. Nice shot, but he did not pocket a ball. And does he leave Brian a shot? Not much. He does. He can see the one, but it's not an easy shot. But he just got right up there and popped it in there. Now it looks like he can go 2 rails with the cue ball toward the center of the table, and no, he's holding it there for just a little bit different angle than I thought. So he had to hold it to play it in the corner. But this floats nicely for the 4 next. Into the same corner. He should hit this pretty soft, I think, unless he's going all the way around. I thought he was going to try to hold it at the on the right side of that 5 and play it in the left bottom corner. But I really like the way he did here. He didn't have to be as precise with the final landing of the cue ball. Got pretty fortunate there. He overspun the ball and threw the 5 to the rail. But a little fortunate that Abe is kicking at the 5 now instead of having a straight-in shot on it. Good chance Abe will make this ball. So he hits the rail and then like that, but needed to hit it thinner.
today is Veterans Day, so we should give a shout out to all of our veterans that are tuning in. Thank you for your service. Hope you're enjoying the coverage of this year's U.S. Amateur Championship. Uh-oh.
He's got to avoid, yeah, see where he's looking now? When coming that angle, he's got to avoid running into, putting his cue ball in that side pocket over there. So if he came the other side of the 8, then he's got to worry about getting hooked on the 8. So it's a touchy shot here. He may choose to go 3 rails and spin it to the left just to avoid that mess. Yep, he looked at that to see what it felt like. So it looks like he's putting a lot of left-hand spin on it and coming around. Yep, that's the way to shoot this shot, I think, but he's got to get up away from that 8. I'm not sure he can pocket this in the side pocket across there, he may need to cross it over.
His girlfriend over this last couple of balls. His girlfriend's right over there.
Yeah, it looks like now he can pot it there, pocket it. Yeah, I think Brian's wanting to unscrew his stick right now, but he knows not to do that.
Once again, we're seeing Abe's flexibility come into play. He is.
Yeah, he is young and flexible.
He's been doing some yoga or something, climbing around in that table.
He tears me up with all of it. He wears his emotions on his sleeve.
Yeah, he does.
Makes for good TV.
All Brian can do is look on and hope for another opportunity. I don't know if Abe can get up there.
Brian has made more mistakes today than
Yep.
normal.
Absolutely. Abe just can't quite get comfortable there.
Yeah, and you do not want to shoot it until you do get comfortable. A lot of times people rush it and go ahead and shoot it and say, well, I'll probably make it. No, you got to say, I will make it.
He got it.
Perfect.
He got
That's
it.
right where he needs to be.
Just had to stretch out a little bit to get up there.
Yep, and he can draw the ball back a little bit, but he is drawing it across the line he needs to be on, so he'll have to be pretty precise on his draw, on his shape on the next shot. So he'll draw it between the side pocket and where the 9 is now, and then play the. Oh, he had a little straighter shot than I thought, but still he has to be pretty precise on his draw.
All right, folks, here it goes. Abe Schaad.
Yeah.
7-4 win over Mr. Brian Parks. He sends the defending 5-time champion to the one-loss bracket. He will move on to face the winner of the match between Mike Lee and James Adams, currently ongoing. We're going to take a short break. You guys can pop over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/APA Leagues for extended coverage. And we will be back with the hot seat match in just a little bit. Thanks for tuning in, folks. We will see you very soon.
All right.